Hi everyone, it's me, Bonaventure Dosu. Today I'm just going to talk to you about how I customized the previous Tic Tac Toe game I have made and I have uploaded online with my colleague Chris. I have customized it and now we can play a Tic Tac Toe game from any size, from size n by n. So today, first of all, I hope you've watched the previous video where I was with my colleague Chris. There I think I have written everything from 0 to the end, and then I explained everything understandable over there. And if you didn't watch, I advise you to go and watch first of all. Now here I'm just going to explain the line I have added and why I have added them, and by the end show the results. So here I have added this field size will take me the size of my square. Now when I will click on the button, I don't look at those variables because we've already defined them and used them in the previous video. So if you didn't watch, so please I ask you to go and to watch. Now here when we click on the button OK, it will just launch and execute the code we have written on the path on that function play. So let us scroll down and see what is in that function play. So here we are in play. Those three variables are the new ones. Final matrix, answer to, table signs. Answer to in fact will get me the value the user will have entered in that field of size. So if the user entered 3, then answer 2 will be 3. If the user entered 4, 5, 7, 6, no matter the answer 2 we take that value. But of course it should be a number. Now table sign in fact will be initialized as an array of size n squared. As I think you are seeing here, it will be initialized as an array of size n squared and we fill it only with 0. It is just about the initialization, but I think a bit later you understand what we will use it for. The final matrix we will do the same, it will help us to get those values like we have placed, we have put in table signs. We put them, we will take them now and represent them, place them like a matrix in a matrix view, so that it will be much more better to deal with rows and columns, and it will be much more easier. So table button is the table I created to take all buttons, because as I told you, I'm going to write a code for any n, and I cannot be there writing button 1, button 2, button 3, and so on. So I create this table, this array, and it will help me to get all the buttons I will have created. This code helps me to take and to create the number of buttons I need, because if I entered 3, then I will have a square with 9 cells, which will be 9 by 3. Which will be 3 by 3. So that is what I typically do here, and I for each button created, I append it to my table button, and then for each button created, then I place him at the E row with the J column, so that it will know where to place itself, and it will help us to have something much more beautiful. Now here we are. I think those two lines are the most important lines of the code, because from here everything is done. Okay, so for each button in my table button, I will execute that code. I will execute the code of check sy. But what is check sy? We will scroll up and see what it is. And now X will just be my table, the table of all buttons I have created, and Y will be the special button we would have clicked on. So I suppose I have 100 buttons, but this special Y will be maybe the second button, maybe the 15th button, but the special button we will have clicked on, it will be our Y here. And then with X and Y we will apply and check XY. Now let's scroll up and see what does the function check looks like. So let me do it. Let me explain to you. Table signs, I have added it. Final matrix to added. Answer true, like I said before, it will take the value of the size. Diagonal 1, diagonal 2 are also variables, and we see quite a bit later what they are used for. Now here we will just do like we did on the video. That's what I was telling you in the beginning, that if you didn't watch, I advise you'd better go and watch first of all that video. So first of all, if a button is empty, I mean if we didn't click on it, then we will set it back as S. Okay, now this is, for this part, this is the much more important line. This line. Why? Because it's important, because table size, as I said, is a table of size n squared, and it will help us to get the value of each button. So for each button, I think for each button we have a special index. So for instance, I suppose I start with so for this special button, sorry I have been interrupted, so now let's continue. So if for this special button I will get its index, and then I will put that value of X or of O at that index in our table size. So if I take, for instance, I have a square size 3x3 with 9 cells. If I start my game by clicking on the last button, then this table index 9 index button will take the index of the last button. Now the last button will have, of course, the last index. So now I will put this value X, this new value X, and I will replace it by the value which was here. I mean, I will replace the value of table size at this index. I will replace it now with this value with this value. So it will depend if it's X or if it is O. So like that we will get the correct answer. We get the correct value for the correct button, and then everything is I can say basic, because here value 2, it will help me to count how much time I have O. I have the symbol O, and value 1 will help me to count how much time I have the symbol X. Now here this part of code, those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those 5 lines will just help me to get those elements of my table size in a matrix view, like I was saying at the beginning. Now here the serious stuffs are starting. Here this part of code will help me to check if there is a winner on the horizontal way. You know, in Tic Tac Toe we have 3 possibilities. Now I think 5. We have when we can win on the horizontal way, when we can win on vertical way, when we can win on the main diagonal, and when we can win on the second diagonal. And if we don't have all those 4 cases, then we can claim that there is draw. So that's what typically this one we do. this part of code we do. So here I fix, here we are checking for horizontal way. So we take one line, we fix one row, and then we go through each column. Now if we fix one row, we will take its first column, we see if the content of the first column is equal to the content of the second. If yes, we keep moving like that. So if the content of the previous column of the fixed row is equal to the content of the next column, then we be moving, and so on. And by the end, if our count is equal to int of answer 2 minus 1, because you know we have size, if we have size 3, the count when cannot be size, cannot be 3, because we are starting by 0, so it will be 0, 1, and 2, which will be int of answer 2 minus 1. So if our count is equal to this value, then we just claim that this is winner. Now which winner, it will depend on, if it's X, then it will be the first user, the first player, and if it's O, then it will be the second player. After that, we reduce, we will reinitialize our final matrix, and then we will destroy our window. That's simple. Here, this part of code helps me to take it on the vertical way. So it's basically the same thing, but just here we are fixing one column and we are going through each line, each row. So it's the same thing here, exactly the same thing. When we have gotten the winner, then we reinitialize everything and we destroy our window, and the game is ended. Here, now we are looking for the diagonal options. This line helps me to take care about my main diagonal. When I start from the first column, from the first cell located at the first row, first column, and then we'll be going down till the last cell, which will be located at the last row and the last column. So this code helps me to take the value of each position, of each button on that diagonal, and then diagonal 1 will be a string, which will be helping me to append those values. Now you agree with me, if you have size 3 and if someone has to win on the diagonal way, then if it's the first player, then the count of X should be equal to the size, to the precise size of our square. If it's the player O, then it's the same thing. So that's basically what I have done here. And then after we reset our diagonal 1 variable as empty string, and we destroy our window. So easy and so simple. Now we do the same thing here, diagonal 2, diagonal 1, so we count O and we do the same thing. Now we come back here when at the diagonal, but on the other way. Okay, on the other way. So it's the same thing. We are taking diagonal 2, which will be a string, and we'll be adding to him the value of those elements standing on the inverse diagonal. And then for the inverse diagonal, when I will be on the first row, then my column index will be the maximum, and the maximum of my index column will be when I will be on the first line. So it will be, that's why here I have written that my column index will be int of answer 2 minus I minus 1. In our first case, the most highest will be when I will be equal to 0, then we have only this one, int of answer 2 minus 1. And then when we will be going down, the index of row will be increasing of 1, and index of columns will be decreasing of minus 1, and that's all. So with that, we will check again that we did for the previous case, and when we finish, we destroy everything. Now if we don't have none of these cases, then we check if the number of times the user 1 click and the number of times of the user 2 click, if it's equal to the number of cells we have, And if we don't have no win, then we will claim that there is a draw. We claim that there's a draw, we reinitialize everything and we destroy our window. So that's basically the lines I have added. Now let's make a test. Let's make a test and see what it will look like. So here is Bona and here's Chris, for instance, and let's start with 4. So we will check it on this way. So let us not choose the first one and just choose this one. So of course, if it works for this one, it will work for this one, and so on, because they are the same. So I suppose I put it here, Chris put it here, I put it here, he puts here, here, and oh, I have messed up. So it's here, I put it here, yes. Now here, he will put it here, I will put it here, he will put it here, and I will put it here. Congratulations, Bona, I have won the game. So this part of code works. You have seen everything has been reinitialized and our window has been destroyed. Now let's launch it again. We still have 4 cases to check. Now let's suppose Chris is going to be the one starting and I'll be the second one. Now let's move to 5 line, size 5. So now we're going to check on this. Now we can check on this, on this, on this. I can suggest we check on this. Now I will put it here, he will put it here, he will put it here, so, and I will put it here, and so on and so on and so on. Congratulations, Chris, you have won the game. So our code works. Now the next case, it will be the normal diagonal. Chris, sorry. Let's move to 6. I wanted to say 6. Sometimes already mixing Russian and English and Russian and French. But now we want to check for this option. So I will start, he will put, 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 I will start, and output, and I have won the game. So this part of code also worked. Now let us check the last but one option when it is the inverse, the diagonal but on the other way. So now for this one, he's going to start. For this one, I'm going to be the second. Now we can move to size 7. To size 7. Now we need to check for this, exactly this. So he start, and we play the same game. We just need to check it because if we want to make a draw, there's nothing important. So congratulations, Chris, you have won the game. So our code works. Now let's check for the last option, last case. When there is a draw. So Bona, then Chris. Sorry, Chris. Oh, sorry, Chris. And here let us put 4 so that the game won't be long and we will finish. So I'll put it here, he will put it here, I'll put it here. Put it here, and so on and so on. Bona and Chris, you've made a draw. Please try again. So as we can see, our code works, and it's a tic-tac-toe game for any size. You are the one deciding, you are the one setting bounds for your square. So this is what I wanted to share with you. Sorry if you didn't watch the previous video where I was with my colleague Chris. We did it online. Everything I have written it from 0 to the end, and all explanations are there. And the atmosphere was very good, and I think you will learn it, you will understand it completely. So here I just explained what I have added, why I added them, and I showed the result. And we have seen all the result, that the result is pretty clear and is working. So thank you for following me. That's everything I wanted to show you today. The code about the text editor, then I think I will upload it by the end of this week. I just need to fix something of some stuffs, and I will upload it. For now, I think if there is any question, you still can reach me on social networks. Facebook Bonaventure Dossou, Instagram Bonadossou, I'm on Twitter Bonaventure Dossou as also Bonadossou. I'm on VK Bonaventure Dossou, and you also can reach me on my email femipodcast.dossou gmail.com. So that is, and I can say again thank you and see you next time. Take care.